welcome back to another episode of Lights Out with Ish and Eve. I'm Ish and this is Eve, and we are back. The season has officially started.
Thank God!
I know. I've been waiting for this.
Literally.
We finally had competitive sessions where we can do more than just say it's just testing, it's just this. So, okay. First of all, what a race.
Bro, that was intense.
Chaotic as hell. So I was very comfortable on my couch at home.
I was in the monsoon, fighting for my life.
Yes.
A lovely Kiwi family lent me a spare poncho and probably saved me from hypothermia, so shout out to them. Oh my God, it was mayhem. Anyone that was at the track, at the Grand Prix will know, like, it was just madness. But honestly, like, having that much chaos and then that much chaos in the race, like, it was kind of a good time, but like, it was just full on.
Yeah.
I had a blast. I'm so exhausted. Anyone that's watching on YouTube, just ignore it. I'm so tired. But what a fucking weekend.
Yeah. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
And yeah, there's a lot to unpack.
Yes.
So we're going to do our best to
keep it quick
as we can. Get it all in. Overall, as an F1 fan, I loved that race. Mm-hmm. As a Ferrari fan, I wanted to throw myself out a window.
Mm-hmm. That is valid. I was like, oh, Shana's not going to be having fun with this. Basically, like, from quali onwards, like, it was just, even through practice, it was like up and down through practice, but like, again, it's practice. Yeah. But like, yeah, as a McLaren fan, I'm happy.
I know, I'm like, do we just hand Lando and McLaren the championships now?
They were flying.
Insane.
They were miles ahead of everybody else.
They have built an actual rocket ship. They have built what Max rolled out of the garage with
in 2023.
Yeah.
And I'm so stressed. I should be happy, but I'm so stressed. Like, it makes me so nervous for the season because, like, obviously that panned out the way it did. But, like, realistically, they kind of got off a little bit scot-free. Yeah. Like, with any controversy for the most part because of what happened to Oscar, which just dagger through the heart.
I know.
And like
Oscar and Jack both.
Oh my
both
God.
Aussies.
It was
brutal.
Just horrible. And like the whole crowd was just like the sigh of like disappointment when that happened was just so like just so loud for both of them.
Yeah.
And then when Oscar did get going,
the
whole crowd was like, wow, like, go Oscar, fucking let's go. Like, everyone was so excited.
Bless.
I know. And like, I just feel for him so much.
I know.
And like, honestly, with that happening to Oscar and that happening to Jack and like Carlos and like some of the other people that had Jack, like with these stories that I'm like, oh my God, I feel for them so much. Like, if Lando hadn't won the race,
that would have been just an emotional.
It would have just been a nightmare. Like, if Max had got him at the end, I would have been probably inconsolable on both fronts. Like that happening to Oscar and if that happened to Lando.
Yeah, rough.
Like, it would have been a rough time. However, that's not what happened. And we'll unpack the race in a bit more detail. But
we will.
Coming into the weekend, news that broke.
Yes.
Oscar Piastri re-signed with McLaren until 2028.
Yes.
So, long-term deal.
Yep.
What we love to see.
How long is Lando's contract until?
I think it's still the same.
Yeah, I think so too.
Which is very fun for me, but also very stressful.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, it's just going to mean that, again, like this year, they're both feeling very comfortable in their positions and very comfortable to race one another.
Yeah, that's the part that stresses me out. In terms of a driver's opinion of being a McLaren fan, I love having them both locked in, but I'm just like how many championships are you going to split the points on and let someone else steal it? Like, if you're both winning 50% of races each,
fair.
Someone else, like a Max, who's winning all of the races for Red Bull, sneak through and take the championship.
True. Well, speaking of the championship, though, we officially have a new championship leader in Lando.
Let's go! Let's go!
And not to hate on the haters, but someone commented on one of our videos where we pointed out that if Max didn't win in Melbourne, that he would lose his streak. And someone commented, like, tell me you don't watch F1 without telling me you don't watch F1. And I'd just like to say to that person that we were right. And...
Also, like, it's just a fact.
I know.
If he doesn't win in Melbourne, he doesn't lead the champion. That's not an opinion. That is a fact.
Yeah. I was like, actually, you don't have to watch F1 to know that. Yeah.
Literally. To quote George Russell, fact.
Fact.
But anyway, that was just a bit
Anyways,
funny.
I just needed to get that off my chest.
Yeah, that was just kind of funny. That's the kind of comment where I'm just like, this means nothing.
Yeah, you're done.
This is just
Anyway.
funny. But
shall we get into practice?
yes.
Or was there any other?
I feel like there was, but I forgot. So let's just
So
let's
just
roll.
roll with it. FP1. So obviously the big talking point was Ollie Behrman.
Oh,
Ollie Behrman had maybe the worst opening weekend for in a season that has maybe ever occurred. Ever.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, I was placing bets with my family on how long it would take for him to crash out in the race. And the fact that he didn't,
Yeah.
very impressive.
I mean, yeah.
Good job, kid.
One of two rookies left
I
standing.
mean, he was trundling around at the back.
Totally.
Tiptoeing through that track, but he
Yes.
didn't bin it. So, good for him.
Yes.
But, yeah, that was a big hit in FP1.
Yeah. Just tough on his confidence. Obviously, then stopped him from being able to participate in FP2. But yeah, it was
yeah. At that point in time, it was like, oh, that's a big hit. But like, obviously, at that point, we didn't know like the flow-on effect it would have on his whole weekend.
Yes.
Because that crash basically just caused issues for him the whole weekend.
Yeah. So he couldn't get out any running in FP2, and then FP3
Spun
not to jump
3
ahead,
minutes
but
in.
Yeah, spun 3 minutes in, crashed again.
He didn't hit the wall though. Like
No,
he just spun.
That's right. He just spun. Yeah.
But it was enough to get him beached and couldn't run again. And then
which then threw off his quali because
Yeah.
they couldn't. There was like some technical issue with the car,
which was probably would have been found in FP3 and fixed had he been able to keep running.
Yeah.
Because I'm no doubt like that issue was from the crash in FP1.
Yeah.
But they just hadn't run the car to figure out that they had an issue.
Yeah.
So like, oh, the poor kid.
I
But
know.
honestly,
And then start at the back.
yeah,
The
I'm
grid.
honestly like glad that he got through the race.
Totally. Kudos
Like,
for that.
He needed that for his confidence after the start of the weekend. So the fact that he was one of two rookies that made it through. Pretty sure he finished last on track, but it's fine.
Yeah.
He finished. Six
Yes.
people didn't.
Correct.
Anyway, another thing in FP1 was Carlos
Yes.
and just Williams.
Insane. So at one point, Charles and Carlos were running P1 and P2 in FP1.
know.
And there was that like track dominance graphic that came up on the broadcast that obviously showed which parts they were both better at. And it was like, here's Charles's parts, here's Carlos's parts. And I was like, this is familiar, but wait a minute.
You're like, why is it blue?
Yeah. What?
No, that's so funny.
Yeah.
But I loved that. Every time that Carlos finished ahead of both Ferraris, I was like, lol. But they were looking quick, and I actually really wanted him to hold on to that number one.
I know.
And like, I love, obviously, if anyone's going to beat it, that it was Lando, great. But like, I wanted Carlos to top FP1 so bad.
I know.
I think that would have been so much fun. And when I was interviewing people, I spoke to so many Carlos fans that were just like over the moon, because I spoke to people in between FP1 and FP2.
Yeah.
So people were stoked.
Yeah. Well, he was only like a 10th and a half off Lando's time. Like, it was so close.
Yeah. And people were so excited to see that.
Yeah.
Like, the Williams looked actually, because that's the thing through the weekend, it looked good.
I know.
And Alex was up there.
Yeah.
Like,
well, Alex had a phenomenal weekend, which we'll talk about.
yeah.
But like, yeah, it would have been incredible to see what Carlos could have done in the race.
I know. That was really unfortunate.
I know.
Another thing in FP1, George spun.
Yeah, he just sort of like dropped a wheel into the grass and then
It's the exact same spin that Kimmy had in the race.
Yeah.
Like, actually, and neither of them hit the wall, so
yeah.
good for them.
It was a big runoff area.
Yeah,
bit.
but like so
Still
lucky. Like
so
there's
lucky.
not many big runoff areas
No.
that aren't a gravel trap
and
on
they
that
came
track.
close to.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to point out in FP1 and FP2,
Yes.
Jack doing faster than Pierre Gasly in both.
Yes, true.
I was very impressed with him. I thought he did until the race. He was kind of cooking. I was like, this is what he needs to do.
Yes.
Because obviously in quali he was unlucky with that yellow flag because of your fucking driver spinning in the middle of the track. But, like, I think he had until the race.
Yeah.
He was looking really good. And I'm like, it's nothing like, you know, he's not
Crazy.
rocketing to the top of the times, but it's what I think he needs to do.
Totally. He just needs to show he can keep up with Pierre.
And he was ahead of Pierre.
Exactly.
So I thought that he was doing really well, and anyway.
Yeah. But I think that's kind of it for FP1.
Mm-hmm.
In FP2, Charles went fastest. Mm-hmm. And I was like, right, most, like, you know, what's the word? Where it's like,
the rust. You cleared the rust.
Representative. Oh my god! I can't believe I couldn't.
I was like, he's clearing rust. Like he didn't go as fast in FP1. Like what?
No, yes, FP2 was the most representative session, like in terms of the practice sessions. Yeah. So I was like, great, we're on. Here we go. Charles Leclerc, F1 World Champion, 2025, and
Neckmin.
Yeah.
We all know how that went.
Yeah.
Another thing to point out in FP2 was the fucking pace of the RBs.
Yuki was looking so quick, and so was Isaac.
Yuki took it personally. Yuki said, let me show you that you made the wrong fucking call.
This whole weekend was a bit of a fuck you from Yuki.
But I loved it.
Oh, me too.
I loved it.
So here for it.
And Isaac was doing so well. He was flying.
Yes.
And yeah, the RB was faster than both Red Bulls.
I know. So people have been like commenting about Helmut Marko saying like, oh, you know, Max might end up in an RB this year.
Yeah.
And I don't think he was saying that because Max did a bad job by not
No,
winning.
he was just saying because the RB's fast.
Because the RB's so quick.
Yeah, the RB's faster than the Red Bull.
I know.
But I don't think it would matter. Put Max in an RB, he'd still be there. Like, put Max in a Sauber and he'll be up there.
Put Max in a Ferrari and he'd still be up there.
Yeah. Best lineup in the midfield. Let's go.
Let P7 in the championship.
You're behind Sauber. And Aston Martin.
I want to scream.
Both of your drivers are behind Lance Stroll in the drivers.
Dude, I can't. I really can't.
I mean, not for long, you'd think.
You'd hope. Touch wood.
Literally. Like, where is the wood?
Yeah.
And that's probably all to mention. We already mentioned that Ollie wasn't running, unless you have anything else from FP2.
No, nothing else from FP2. There was obviously just a few like more runoffs and things as people kind of figured themselves out and everyone remembered how to drive again. But
dipping a toe in that gravel.
Yes.
Yeah. That was the main one.
It was, yeah.
I was like, let me buy tickets on that grandstand next time.
For next time.
Turn 7 and turn 10.
Yeah.
Remember that.
I know. And then FP3, obviously, as we said, Ollie Behrman went off again.
Oscar went fastest.
Oscar did go fastest.
Everyone liked that.
Yes, I'm sure that was a very popular thing for him to do.
Yes.
And Liam Lawson also had a few technical issues, I think, that meant he only got like a couple laps in, which then obviously did not slay his qualifying.
No.
But
also he did not slay his qualifying.
He did not. Shall we talk about quali?
Yeah, let's get straight into it. So Q1.
First of all, so Charles was running, I think, quite well after like they were all doing their first runs. Charles was, I think, at the top of the timesheet, and then Lando set his lap, and it was half a second faster. And I was like,
"You're like, dear God!" You're like, faster is okay. Half a second,
yeah. I was like, bro.
Yeah, it was really tricky actually being there on the scoreboards, like on the timing sheet that was up on the big screen only had to 1 decimal point. So that was really tricky. Obviously that I can see. Yes. But like at one point it was like, what was it, 1:15s I think they were in? It was like 1:15.7. And I was like, so how close are they? Yeah. Like what does this mean?
Yeah.
They're all on 1:15.7, and obviously I know that the order is determined by the hundredths and thousandths, but I want to see.
I can't see it.
Show me.
I know, that's fair. And then there was another point, you might have seen this on the screen, where Kimi Antonelli's car was like broken, I think the floor.
because I think he bottomed out on a curb or like went
Yeah.
through the gravel or something.
And there was so much sparks.
Yeah, they were talking about that on the live commentary.
Yeah, and like one bit in particular underneath his car was literally like scraping on the ground so much. It was like red hot. I was like, oh my God, this, like, it was literally like, I was like, this thing's going to catch fire.
Yeah. Okay. Wow.
It was
No, we saw the
crazy.
sparking and we saw the damage, but we didn't see it close up.
Yeah. And then that was apparently costing him 3/10 per straight compared to George.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So his car was like cooked.
because obviously he got knocked out, but we all
Yeah.
kind of knew it was because of the damage.
Yeah.
Which is obviously really unfortunate for him.
Totally.
Didn't fucking matter.
It did not. But yeah,
Yes.
so that was sort of unfortunate for him.
But
Yeah,
Q1, like, the rookies did really well. I mean, Liam did
not so much. He had a terrible lap. He was all over the place.
yeah.
And then he got knocked out.
He was in the gravel, he was in the grass. He was
Yeah.
almost in the wall.
Yeah,
He's everywhere but the track.
correct. And then, ooh.
Yeah,
So
got knocked
not a
out.
great start, unfortunately, for someone who I think probably wanted to come
Yeah.
out of the gate
And now
strong.
all of the memes
I know.
of like,
And particularly because Yuki did well too. It's just
I
like,
know.
oh.
I just love the memes of like Perez like cackling back
Oh my
in
God, I
Mexico,
know.
like-
Daniel Ricciardo cackling in the background.
yeah. And I'm like, I do feel for him though. But it was a rough start for a lot of rookies.
Oh,
for
for
very
sure.
many reasons.
That
Like-
could be one of the hardest races of the year.
Yeah.
And it's your first one.
Yeah, like it was a rough start. So like I will put a caveat for all of the rookies.
For sure.
Like you did good.
I know.
Let's count next one as the start. I mean, apart from probably Kimmy, but like
yeah.
for all of them, it's like it's all good. Let's move.
Yeah.
Like just forget about
Don't worry
that.
about it. One elimination I ththought was interesting to see in Q1 was Esteban Ocon
The
down
Haas
in
looks
P19. Because in testing, we were like, oh, you know, maybe they're just doing lots of long runs or whatever, but
they were
maybe they're actually just trash.
they were slow all weekend.
Yeah.
Like nowhere in practice. Obviously, we're mainly racing it off Ocon.
Yeah.
But Ocon, if he's got a good car, he's good.
He's quick.
Like,
Yeah.
that, he was nowhere. And, like, both of them were nowhere. And, like, it was like watching the Saubers at the back of the field in Singapore, the way those two were just, like,
Yeah.
towing
miles
around
off.
at the back.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the gaps were, like, massive, though.
Yeah.
And, like,
You don't know till you're there as
I
well.
know. Like, oh my God, the gap between the McLarens and Max, like, after Oscar got
It's
through,
like 15 seconds or something.
it got up to, like, 17 seconds, I think.
Yeah.
Before the safety car. It was huge and it happened so fast.
Yeah.
They dropped him so quickly.
quickly.
I was like, oh my word.
I know. Well, that's literally what 2023 was. Like, I remember every time, as soon as Max was gone around the first corner, it'd be like,
Just
okay, see
ya.
you, Max.
And it was just like how long it takes Perez to overtake everybody else if he can keep it out of the wall.
Yeah.
And then
And then
until
that
he
was
fucks
that.
off after him.
Yeah.
Like,
Crazy.
but like them being within a second of each other and like 20 seconds down the track from everyone else, I was like, holy
Yeah.
balls. I was like,
Panic.
Another thing that I thought was really interesting,
Yes.
Bortoletto out qualifying Nico Hulkenberg.
Yes.
When Nico Hulkenberg is a proven good qualifier.
Yes.
Has been a bit of a Mr. Saturday through last
True.
year. So I thought he showed some really good signs. He was ahead of Nico a fair bit throughout the week.
Yeah.
Um,
He had a really strong weekend.
until he binned it. But
Until
yes.
he bent it, but yes.
As we said, the race for the rookies will let it slide at this
But
stage.
he also made it through like a good chunk of the race before
yeah.
binning it too. You know?
Yeah, for sure.
So
So I thought
yes.
that was really impressive.
Yeah. Well, then we went into Q2, and then obviously Bortoletto got eliminated there. Ferrari were like not looking good. They were cooking their tires like after sector 2,
Yeah.
and then their sector 3 was just terrible. And I was like,
Yeah. And then Lewis spun, which is like,
yes,
what Lewis spinning for?
Yeah.
Lewis ain't spun in a long time, I feel.
I know. I think he was lucky to make it through as well because he sort of just screwed up everyone else who
Yeah.
who was behind him,
Like
who was
his-
also like about to set a time potentially faster than him.
Yeah.
So he got
Yeah.
quite lucky.
Like, that's where Jack Doohan got screwed.
Yeah.
And, like, that just happens. But I'm like, I would have
Totally.
loved for him in his situation at the moment to, like, get through. But
Yes.
I was a little bit like, oh, T. And then, obviously, Isaac Hadjar qualified the best of the rookies, which I just thought was a nice little like tick for him.
Completely.
Yeah, obviously with what happened to Kimmy, but the other thing was then moving on into Q3, we got both Williams through.
Yes. So cool.
Yeah.
Very, very big fan of that.
Yes, me too.
And particularly, obviously, for Alex, like, amazing performance.
So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I know.
He was so close to the podium. I would have loved for him to get on the podium, but it is what it is. And that's still an amazing result for him.
Yes.
So.
Agree.
And in the race, he held off Lewis so long.
Bro.
I was like, what is going on?
Do you want to hear my 4 bullet points for my notes on Q3?
Yes.
Amazing job from McLaren.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing job from Alex and Yuki.
Mm-hmm.
A real fuck you from Yuki to Liam and Red Bull. And I give up on being a Ferrari fan.
Honestly,
I'm handing in my fan card. I've had enough.
Yeah, valid.
I'm not. I love Ferrari.
Next year is your year.
Yeah, I'm like 2026. Let's go.
Oh, but the memes are so funny.
Bro.
But
4th row on the grid.
And behind an RB
And
and
a
a
Williams.
Williams. It's not good. It's not good at all. And then, there was like a bit of I don't know if they said this on the broadcast, but on the live commentary, there was like, on race day, they were like, we think Ferrari gave up qualifying performance to go for a bit more of a wet weather setup?
Yes.
And I was like, okay.
That was my copium.
And then that didn't look like that was a thing. That looked like maybe a fake rumor of people taking
I think
copium.
that was just the absolute copium
Yeah.
of the Ferrari fans.
Yeah.
But it was a McLaren front row
Yes,
lockout.
I was so excited.
So slay.
And oh my God, this is the thing, the Aussie crowd got excited too early. Because
Yes. Oscar set his lap.
Oscar set his lap. And while I was like, whoa, I knew Lando was going to go faster. Anyone that's watched any qualifying sessions last year knew there's a high chance
Yeah.
Lando was going faster.
Yeah.
And he went faster. Like, literally maybe 4 seconds later, came around across the line. Yeah! Everyone's like, yeah! Oh. And I don't think people were necessarily disappointed that Lando got pole. It was more so that
No.
Oscar didn't get pole.
100%.
Which is valid. I would have loved Oscar to get pole.
Absolutely.
But I was just like, I'm not going to cheer, I'm not going to think Oscar's got pole until Lando crosses the line.
Absolutely.
Because...
Well, even Max was setting purple sectors.
Yeah.
And again, it was sort of like that last sector that kind of, I think a lot of them really lost
struggled
it.
with,
But yeah, even Max was looking very quick.
Yeah, I know. And but Max, I think, set his lap. Oh no, he said he was last over the line. When Lando had his lap time deleted on his first lap,
Oh yeah.
I got a little nervy. And I know that he's fine. It doesn't matter if his first lap gets deleted because it's the second one that counts anyway.
Yeah.
And I know that, he's fine. But it did make me a little bit stressed
Fair.
because I was like, no more mistakes.
Yeah.
No.
Fair.
You can't have this. Because
Fair
his
enough.
banking lap would have had him at like P3 or P4 or something. So, but he had no bank lap.
Yes.
Anyway.
Shall we talk about the race?
Yes.
Obviously, Sunday morning, we all wake up. It's a lovely hot day in Sydney. It was actually like 39 degrees.
Really?
Yeah, it was
Boy.
stinking hot. How was the weather in Melbourne, babe?
It was torrential.
Mm-hmm.
It was actually not so bad. Actually, I woke up in the morning and it was pouring rain. And I was like, dear God. And then it stopped.
Mm-hmm.
Walking through the track grounds to go to my grandstand. Fucking heavens open. All hell breaks loose. It's pandemonium. There's people everywhere. Like ponchos, like umbrellas, flying, literally inside out. People are ducking for cover, hiding underneath trees. All of the stalls with the vendors, people are trying to go inside the fucking deep fryer to get away from the rain. I was like, oh my word. And I was just telling Ishana, I got a bit stuck trying to get from that side of the track to where I was meant to go. And this lovely Kiwi family did lend me a poncho.
Yeah.
And genuinely saved my life probably.
Yeah,
So
we love them.
I did shout them out already, actually. I forgot about
Yes.
that. But, like, actually, I was like, I
Deserving of the double shout out.
I would have been in so much trouble
Yeah,
without that.
for real.
Like, I actually...
You'd have pneumonia.
Yes, correct. So,
So yeah, it was very wet, and I turned the broadcast on in the comfort of my living room, and they were like deciding if it should be a safety car start or not because of obviously just the rain. But then decided to go ahead with a regular race start,
and it had kind of cleaned up a little bit.
Yeah,
By the time that the race was starting, it was still
Yeah.
drizzling a bit, but the wind had dropped,
yeah,
which I think helps a lot.
yeah, fair. And so they started their formation lap, and well, that was where the chaos started because poor Isaac Hadjar put it in the wall, and the scenes that followed.
Turn 1.
I know, and the scenes that followed were so sad because he gets out of the car and he's just there, just clearly super devastated and emotional.
Yeah, like, I felt so sad for him.
I know.
Like, everyone was like, oh my God. Like, because he qualified obviously highest out of the rookies. Like, he was doing so well. And, like,
I know.
your debut F1 race.
I know. And he's not like some of the other rookies who have done a couple races. Like, this
Exactly.
is literally his first race.
Yeah. And, like, oh my God, I just felt so sorry for him.
I know. And then he obviously gets his way back to the paddock, and then it was so sweet, Lewis's dad, like, having a few words to him just to, like, because that's, like, his idol's dad.
Yeah,
like,
literally, the creator.
Yeah, like, that would be really big, I think, for him.
I know. And he was clearly, like, sobbing. Like,
Oh, for sure.
And didn't take his helmet off, which is, I think, great that they have that helmet to hide behind because there are so many cameras
totally
on them
like,
at
you
all
just
times.
need-
Like, you just want a moment.
minute. Yeah.
And then helmet fucking Marco.
Yeah.
First of all, this man was causing me issues the whole weekend because he called Gabriel Bortoleto a B-rate rookie driver.
And Jack doing a
C-rate. And I'm like, they both out-qualified your rookie.
I know.
So,
Bortoleto kind of clapped back, so that was
yeah,
just like,
slay. But, like, that was just rude.
I know.
Don't just, like, you can big up your drivers, but don't shit on the others,
I
like, by
know.
name.
So unnecessary.
So unnecessary. And then he says that Isaac Hadjar's tearful display
Yeah.
was a bit embarrassing.
I know. I'm like, you're just an old dinosaur from, like, an old time, and your comments are irrelevant, and...
Have some fucking decorum.
Yeah. I know. It's just, like, the lack of professionalism.
So disrespectful. I'm like, that is your driver. Support him.
Literally. I know. And, like, yeah, he is going to be tearful. Like, that's a hugely emotional moment.
Exactly.
Like, the toxic masculinity is crazy.
I know.
Anyway.
That fucking hate him. I hate him.
Heartbreaking for Isaac. Can't wait to see what he does this weekend. I think it's great that there's another race straight away, so he's not dwelling on that for
and
too
all
long.
of them as well.
Totally, like everyone that DNF'd,
Yeah.
all the rookies especially.
Especially Fernando Alonso, the rookie that
The
DNF'd.
rookie that DNF'd, so true. But yeah, so that was really sweet.
Yeah.
But Lewis's dad going
yeah.
to talk to him. So then the race actually got going. And Lando had a good start.
Yes.
Mans has been practicing.
Great start. We love that. Max would have got him if he didn't cut him off. And that's the sort of thing, that aggression to, like, cut him off like that.
Yeah.
That's where
Huge.
he maybe would have left space last year.
Yes.
And he was like, no, fuck you this year, actually.
Yeah.
And then obviously Max got Oscar.
So both McLarens were, like, fighting for their lives around turn 1.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't realize it when I first
were
watched
like-
it, but when they showed the replays, they were all over the place. Like, the fact that they kept it together. And
Because they're on the front row. Like, that's where there's no cars been through. Like, there is zero grip. All of the water is still sitting there.
Yeah. So they were both, I think, a little bit lucky and very talented to be able to not lose it.
Yeah.
So that was great. But then obviously lap 1 continued and Jack Doohan went
I
into the wall.
can't even express to you how upset I was when Jack Doohan went into the wall.
I was like, whoa, rookies dropping left, right, and center.
Yeah. Like,
I know.
And like,
heartbreaking.
because as I've said, like basically since Franco Colapinto signed at Alpine, I've just been like the biggest advocate of Jack Doohan ever because I'm just like, no, like, don't do this.
Leave him alone.
Yeah. I'm just like, I'm patriotic. I'm like, let my boy go. So that's why when he beats Gasly, I'm like, yes. That's like the smallest thing. I'm like, go boy, go. So when I saw his destroyed Alpine,
I know.
sitting in the middle of the track on lap 1,
I know.
and it cut to his dad in the garage,
I know.
and I was just like, oh my God. And I was saying to my dad, I was like, because he was like, oh yeah, like that's really sad, whatever. And I was like, no, he may not ever have another home race. This might have been his one shot at a home race.
Yeah.
Isn't that just heartbreaking?
That is heartbreaking.
Like you'd be like, yeah, all the rookies crashed, but I'm like, that, if he gets replaced, and even like if it's not mid-season.
Yeah.
If it's not mid-season, it'll be next year, probably.
Yeah.
Like, that might have been his one home race. And it
I know.
didn't make it halfway through the lap. I really hope not.
But yeah, I get what you mean.
Franco
It's
was
so
there.
rough.
He was prowling around. Apparently, he arrived on day 1.
Yeah.
Made himself very scarce coming down Melbourne Walk.
Yeah.
Hiding from all the Aussie fans.
Fair.
I was like, fair enough. I mean, it's not his fault.
No,
I love
of course
Franco.
not. Yeah.
He's just trying to get himself a drive as he should. But like,
Totally.
apparently he's like being very inconspicuous, trying to get into the.
I'm sorry.
It's not personal. Don't kill me. Like Liam Lawson trying to leave Mexico last year.
Yeah.
But that was really upsetting. And then obviously immediately after was Carlos.
I know. Which
So-
the safety car had happened at this point.
Yeah.
And everyone was just sort of trundling around, but he just slipped.
And like
And lost the car into the wall.
He said it was like a torque surge. Like it could have been something with the car.
Oh, interesting.
Like, yeah, but
Alright.
I saw it before the cameras found it because I didn't
Oh.
actually see him crash.
Yeah.
But because it was on the
You
final
saw the
corner.
slip, yeah.
No, I didn't even see the slip. I just saw his car in the wall.
Oh.
Because, like, I was looking at the screen.
Yeah,
Because it was
yeah.
looking at Jack Doohan. And then I was like, oh, all the cars will be coming around soon. So I looked down to the final
And his
corner.
car's in the
And I see the
wall.
Williams in the wall. And I was like, oh my God. And no one had, like, noticed because everyone's, like, looking at Jack Doohan and the safety car's out. So who else would be in the wall?
Yeah.
And the cameras hadn't found it yet. Obviously, the people in that grandstand would have seen.
Yeah,
but,
yeah,
like...
yeah.
People where I was sitting, I literally like grabbed it. I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, oh no, I could see the little yellow T-cam.
Yeah.
Because I was like, that's a Williams, but like, who is it? And
Which
then I
one?
saw the little yellow and I was like, no.
I know.
And
But
then-
you know what? All the better for Alex's sake.
Yes.
Because then...
Love this news that's come out.
I know. So Carlos gets out of the car, race restarts, blah, 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 blah. Carlos runs back to the garage, changes into some funky jeans.
Yeah. Great jeans.
Yeah,
May
I loved it.
may I add.
And puts his headset on and starts calling the strategic shots for Alex.
I loved it.
And I was like, you know what? This is why Ferrari sucked, because Carlos wasn't on strategy
Yeah.
anymore.
Their one strategist went to Williams.
Yeah. And that's why Williams beat Ferrari.
Literally. But like, oh my God, I love that so much because
So sweet.
at the end of the day, he's the only one that's been out on the track and
Totally.
knows the conditions.
Yeah.
Like-
and just such good, sportsmanship. Obviously, Carlos has gone there for the team and to help develop them.
It just
And so-
shows how much he's committed to like actually helping that team
Totally.
along.
Because it would be very easy for him to go, "Ugh, like, this
I
sucks.
crashed out.
I'm going to go, hang
Sit
out
in my driver room and cry.
Exactly.
Yeah, be shitty.
Yeah, but to go and do that was really sweet. I really
Yeah.
liked that.
Yeah, me too. It was so great.
Yes.
But obviously him crashing was not ideal and not how he wanted to start his time at Williams.
No.
But him crashing compared to the rookies crashing, I'm like, he'll be fine.
Totally.
Like you're 30 years old.
Yeah.
You've been in F1 years.
Totally. This
You'll
is
be
not
fine.
your first time.
Like
It will
it's
be
not
your
going to knock
last.
his confidence.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
He's
So
chill.
like I only felt really bad for him because it was like his Williams debut and he was going so well.
Totally, yeah.
But in terms of like how I felt about all the drivers crashing for him, I was like sad, but
yeah, I feel less bad for you. Yeah,
he'll
yeah.
pick himself back up, and he did like immediately and got on the pit wall and started being
Yeah.
like, "It's time to box for inters."
Crazy. So
Anyway,
good.
also something I thought was really funny, like
Yes.
Kimmy's radio message after Jack Doohan crashed.
Yeah.
and they were like, got on and were like, oh, like the white lines are really slippery. And
Yeah.
Kimmy was like, fuck, man. I know. I nearly did the same thing.
All right.
All right. It's fine.
So,
fine.
if you're wondering why the lighting has changed, it's because it's gotten darker. Because we talked through the entire race, and then we found out that our cameras had stopped recording half an hour ago. So, we're going to start again with the race. So, where we got up to before...
When I took my jumper off, when my jumper changed.
Yes, that was where we got up to.
And if you're listening, then now is when it changed.
Yeah. So, we got up to, like, I think lap 1.
Yeah. Fuck. Wait, let me check this.
I know. Anyway, so after all the chaos of lap 1 and the first yellow flag,
Yes.
we
We got going again.
got going again. One very funny thing that happened was both of the Ferrari drivers just like very unhappy at their engineers.
Yeah. Lewis having teething issues for real. Like.
Yeah, like whatever K1 was, the like I assume like DRS overtake whatever.
Something.
He was not having it.
No.
So-
But also, like, when Lewis says, leave me alone,
Maybe
you
leave
just
him alone.
leave him to it.
I
Like, he
know.
is a 7-time world champion. But
I
also,
know.
like, I know that being an engineer, like, in the garage, you have more information than the driver does in the car.
Yes.
But in that sort of situation where you are just kind of repeating yourself,
Yeah.
maybe just leave him to it. But anyway, I think those two need to, brush off a few cobwebs.
I know.
I mean, it's not even cobwebs. It's a new...
It's a new
pair-
engineer.
it's
It's
a
going to
new-
take time to.
It was weird, like, seeing Kimmy in the garage with Bono. Like, when I would
Yeah.
see Bono and I would just, like, assume I was going to be seeing Lewis.
And it was instead this little 18-year-old.
I love the kid. I think he's so great.
I
Every time I see him, I'm
know.
like, oh, he's just so cute. Like, I was like, if you told me he's 12, I'd believe you.
I know. He
He's
just looks
so
so
little.
young. I know.
He's so small.
Bless.
Love him. Anyway.
Speaking of Antonelli, though, he got very lucky with a big spin that he had and then managed to kind of get
catch
going
it.
again and catch it and keep moving.
Great drive, by the way. What, P16 to P4?
Insane.
Insane.
Like, truly.
Such a great drive.
I was saying that he was good.
I know.
I
As
was
was
on the Kimmy
everyone.
hype train.
Yes, everyone from speaking to people in interviews that you haven't seen yet.
Yeah, right.
Everyone was on the Kimmy hype train.
Interesting.
For the most part.
Yeah.
Like,
there you go.
yeah.
Very cool.
Mm-hmm.
I can't even remember. We talked about this so well.
I
the
know,
first
and it
time
flowed
around,
so well, and like,
And now I'm just so upset.
we, like,
Anyways.
jumped around so naturally through what happened.
I know, it
Anyways,
worked really
so
well.
chronologically, we're probably
Yes.
up to like Oscar getting back past Max,
Yes.
and
Max went wide and Oscar kind of managed to get through.
the McLarens dropped Max.
Yeah.
So fast.
It was good that for Oscar that he managed to get past Max. It was, I think, maybe around like lap 18 or something like that. And then had enough time to go chase Lando down because Max was not catching Lando.
No. And yeah, they fucked off, the McLarens.
Yeah.
They looked so fast.
Yeah.
And like the fact that both of them within a second of each other were like 20 seconds ahead of Max.
Literally.
Like,
Phenomenal. Yeah.
for everybody else in the field, they'd be looking at that being like, for fuck's sake.
I know.
What the fuck?
Literally. 2023, but change it up a bit.
Yeah, but make it orange.
Yeah.
And have, no. I
It was
gonna
already
slander
orange.
Perez.
Make it papaya.
Yeah, so that was a bit crazy. And then the team orders debacle.
Yes.
Which we did speak about. And this is so annoying that I have to speak about it again because I feel like we covered it so well.
I know. Anyway,
So-
it's fine.
I was saying that in the end, it was probably less controversial than it could have been because of what ended up happening to Oscar.
Yes.
But McLaren have been like I see why they did that in those conditions. Offline was clearly treacherous.
Yeah.
The white lines were treacherous. They're running 1 and 2. The most important thing for the team is to protect the 1-2.
Yes.
So from that perspective, I get it. It's probably the right call.
Yeah.
But when you've spent the winter and all of last year, we don't have a number 1 driver. Free to fight. We're not going to get involved. first race, hold position. It's rough. Yeah. Because of the circumstance, I can understand it.
Totally.
And I do think that had it been dry, they wouldn't have done that.
Yes.
But the Aussie crowd didn't like that.
No, the crowd at home didn't like it either.
They were like, the fuck.
Yeah.
But like from a McLaren perspective,
totally
it makes sense.
Yeah. And then obviously that was when, like a couple laps after that team orders radio message came through, that was when Oscar had his slip.
Yeah. Because he went on slicks like
yes,
when they were just about to box for inters.
I know.
Lando recovered from his slip like into the pit lane. That's how close they were.
Yeah.
Like
rough.
So
obviously the Australian crowd were in mourning seeing
the
Oscar go into the grass.
The like sigh of disappointment
I know.
that went like all across Albert Park. Everyone was like, no, like Oscar, please. Because like that was the thing, like Lando went off and he said in the cool down room afterwards, he was like, I went off, I was just hoping everyone else also went off. And I'm like, they did, kid.
They did.
And then,
more than you.
Yeah. Because Lando came back on and corrected it, whereas Oscar either didn't correct it or overcorrected it and ended up sliding off the other side into the abyss of grass.
Yeah. And thankfully managed to get going again.
Oh my God, great job to get going.
Yeah.
But he was stuck there for like 2 minutes.
Yeah. And so obviously fell back a lot.
Yeah.
But then he was on inters and he like hunted
everyone
down.
Which was great.
Including Lewis, where he had maybe the overtake of the year already in race 1.
Very good early contender.
Yeah. Like massive move. So cool to see.
Yes. And like I'm so glad that he has something. He has that.
I know.
And he still recovered it to points, and those points mean that McLaren are tied with Mercedes in the constructors.
Yes.
And not, they're not losing the constructors because of him sliding out.
Exactly.
But his commitment to getting going, like we thought he was done.
Totally.
We thought he was bogged.
If it maybe wasn't his home race,
he would have got out.
He might have just.
But like the commitment to that and like the heart to be like, fuck that, I'm not DNFing my home race.
Yeah.
And like,
I'm sure the roar from the crowd.
Oh
like,
my God.
Going again.
Like, oh, like, yeah, go. And he like drove past and everyone was like up in their seats, like cheering for him. And I'm like, it was so good to see him get back going. But like, it was. I felt for him, and like I didn't say this before actually, like where I was sitting was like very opposite the pit lane, so obviously they like line up, no, not like the actual garages, like opposite the pit lane of the garages. And the 3 cars that like on the podium go through and line up on their thingies, and the rest of the cars like just park up like down the pit lane, so we could actually see everybody else like getting out of their car, which was super cool. And for quali was the same, like right in front, like just seeing everyone like get out of the car, bar the top 3.
Yes,
but like Oscar, he looked so sad, and he like waved to the crowd and everything, and everyone was like, yeah.
I know. We saw it on the broadcast. He was just looking a bit dejected.
He looked so sad.
I know.
And the sad edits are already coming from McLaren, and I'm like, guys, it's way too early for that. Like, yes, Lando won, and yes, Oscar had a bad time at his home race, but that's not, like, no need to make sad edits about, like, the 2 of them. You make sad edits about Oscar.
True.
And you can make happy edits about Lando winning, but let's not, like...
Fair.
Let's not get it twisted yet.
Agree.
I'm sure it will happen.
Yes. So coming back to when obviously the big strategic decisions were being made about going on inters, staying on slicks, there was like a good 30 seconds there where I thought that Ferrari were going on for a double podium. And it was a great 30 seconds for me personally.
I was never worried personally.
Because they were like, well, if it stops raining now, the track will dry out. So you just need to follow the safety car for a couple laps on
the safety car wasn't out though at that point.
It was.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah. Because Lando did all the restarts. So yeah, it was.
Because I don't think we said that the first time. But
No.
I was like, no, I do remember the safety car. Yeah,
it was.
That was the reason I thought it was doable. Was because I was like, it's not like they're racing on slicks. They're behind the safety car.
Gotcha.
So I was like, surely they can trundle behind the safety car for like a couple laps. The rain will stop. It'll dry up. They'll be leading the race, and we're on.
No.
And we were not.
We were not on. Because that was the thing why it was so exciting, is because at that point in the race, boxing for Inters was a risk. Staying out was a risk.
Yeah.
So, like, even I was like, when Lando boxed for Inters, I was like, is this the wrong call? And then as soon as he came out and started, like, chopping everyone immediately, I was like, okay, no, this was the right call. But, like, Max also tried to stay out on the hard tyre, like, sliding around and then bailed into the pit lane.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I think also being there helped me not be worried about Ferrari winning, because I was like, no, it's raining.
Yeah, it's raining and I can see the 30-second gap.
Yeah, literally. I was like, I was like, they need to box them for Inters.
Yeah.
And then they did. And then Lewis was like, if we knew it was going to rain that much, like, why didn't we box for Inters?
And it was like, welcome to Ferrari.
Yep. Yes.
This is what you have signed up for.
Yes, it is.
Pain.
Unfortunately.
Endless pain.
And your one strategist is now at Williams. So
R.I.P.
Anyway,
it's fine. So then what happened next?
The two other rookies went into the wall.
Yeah, so Alonso went into the wall, and then...
That was before.
No, that was after.
That was before.
I'm sure it was after.
After what?
After, like, all the changing back and forth tyres. Because I wrote it in order. So I'm assuming that it happened after.
I thought it happened after...
This is the problem with this race. There's so much.
Yeah, I thought it happened before.
No, because that was the final safety car. Before the last, like, handful of laps. Like, before the last 10 laps at the end of the race.
No. He was the one before. He was the one when everyone pitted to put on slicks. And then they were already on the slicks.
Oh, yeah. But then during that safety car, that was when I think... No, right after that safety car, Bortoletto and Liam went off.
Because they were on the slicks and then it started to rain.
Yes.
So then those two went off.
It out.
Yeah, because I was like, no, but I also wrote it.
I was like, no, but that's after my note about this.
We're just fried. We're meant to be finished filming by now.
Yeah, our brains are not
running it. This is so sad because we did it so well the first time.
And now we're like, what a
just
word.
Sack this off and use the audio.
So Alonso in the wall. Liam and Max, when that happened, finally found each other on track.
Yes.
Except that Max was lapping Liam.
Lol.
Bit brutal. And then, Bortoletto went in the wall. Liam also spun out and hit the wall. And then there was another safety car. And that was the final safety car before the end of the race.
Yes.
So when that was happening, Haas decided then to pit for new Inters. And
I thought they went on. Didn't they go into slicks? Because I remember being like, why have you just pitted for a slick?
Maybe.
I think they did.
Yeah. And then, anyways, so they pitted, and then they come out, but like the safety car catches up with Lando, but then they come out between Lando and Max. So now you've got Ollie Behrman in between the two race leaders, and the safety car was meant to end, but then had to do another lap before, so that Ollie Behrman could unlap himself before they go racing again, which could have had a massive impact on the race, a la Abu Dhabi 2021.
Yeah, literally. Luckily, the championship wasn't on the line. It's just starting.
Yeah.
But, because Max was so close to getting Lando at the end of the race.
Yeah.
And it was very, very stressful. My fucking God.
I
I was, on the edge of my seat.
Yeah.
Because obviously, we know Max, he can find grip in the wet where it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
And obviously, we know that track was treacherous offline, but still, with it being Max, you just never know.
Yeah.
And that's the sort of move that he could pull off.
Yes.
A la Abu Dhabi 2021, not wet. But, I was so stressed. And had it have been another lap, I'm not confident that Lando would have held him off.
Yeah.
But Lando drove an incredible race.
Phenomenal. Truly kudos to him. He's clearly learned a lot from last year. He's clearly done a lot of reflecting, and he's worked on his mindset. He's worked on staying calm in high-pressure situations, and he really drove, the perfect race. Yes, mistakes were made, but everyone made mistakes in that race because it was clapped.
And, like, that one mistake of him, like, running wide, which didn't really impact his race at all in the end. So, like, yes, he made the one mistake, but, like, he drove an incredible race. And as you said, like, I think it shows really good signs of, like, where his headspace is and where his mindset is for this year and for fighting Max.
Yeah.
And, like, that's just so exciting to see.
No, absolutely. Massive. Like I said at the start of this episode, which was like 3 hours ago now. No. Like, just hand in the championship now. Like, it was, I know.
I'll take it.
I know. That McLaren is insane.
It is really
Also,
insane.
just quickly, the battling at the end of the race. After that final safety car ended, so good. Charles and Yuki had an amazing battle. There was that 4-way battle between like Charles and Pierre and
Lewis and Oscar.
So good. Obviously, like Max hunting Lando down. Like the racing at the end was really so exciting. Good.
I was really sad for Pierre that he didn't get points. Pierre and Yuki.
Know. They both deserved it so much. Yuki was looking like he might get a podium at some point.
He was cooking.
I was like, bro.
I was like, Mans took not getting the Red Bull personally, as he fucking should.
As he should.
And I was loving it. I was like, revenge arc.
Literally.
Villain era. Let's go.
But
I also loved Charles's overtake on Lewis.
Yes.
I love how he was like stamping his claim. He was like, I don't care that we're running in 8th and 9th or whatever it was, 9th and 10th.
Yeah.
I am finishing ahead of you in your first race as my teammate. This is my team. You're on my turf.
Yeah. Agree.
I will be overtaking you. Thank you very much.
I was a fan of that. And it was a close overtake.
Woo,
I was like,
it was really good.
If they're going to be together on track a lot, I am going to be nervous.
Welcome to my life.
But it was great.
Kimmy fucking cooked.
Dude, P16 to P4 on your debut race.
In the rain.
In the rain. Maybe the most difficult race of the year, potentially.
Yeah.
Like, insane.
Hats off.
Major hats off. Major props.
He slayed. I also, I mean, we'll talk about it in my memes, but like the fact that Mercedes got a 3-4 and Lewis was P10.
Yeah.
Was a little bit funny.
A little bit funny.
That's not even about Ferrari. That's just funny.
No, totally.
So he's like, I'm going to get my 8th at Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's like, okay.
Okay.
P8 maybe.
Yeah.
Have fun. But I think was that it?
I think so. I think that was a very summarized version, but I think we still ticked all the boxes.
Quick useless stat for you.
Yes.
And I wrote this down about a week ago.
Go for it.
Because I didn't know whether I'd be happy or sad reading this one out.
Yeah.
But in the last 10 seasons, 10 years, the driver who wins the world championship won the first race of the year.
As I said, just give him the trophy now.
Yeah, literally. And
I thought that when he set his quali lap half a second faster than Charles, personally. But slay.
T.
So my useless stat, which I'm sure a lot of people have seen online, is the Australia curse, which is at the AusGP, whoever wins the AusGP the following year will DNF. And it's happened the past 3 years in a row. So in 2022, Charles Leclerc won in Australia. 2023, DNF'd. 2023, Max won in Australia. 2024, DNF'd. 2024, Carlos won in Australia. And 2025, DNF'd. So, Lando next year, all I'm
Needs
saying
to watch out.
is he's not going to have a great start to the season.
Yes. However, the Monza curse, which was the same.
True.
Was broken last time around.
True.
You know, Charles's Monaco curse has just been broken.
Very true.
We've broken the curse of whoever comes second to Max in a world championship doesn't win a race the following year.
Very true.
So we're on a streak of breaking curses.
So who knows?
I mean, we're going to have to wait 12 months to find out.
Yeah.
So we'll probably forget about this conversation by the time we get there.
Probably. But anyway.
That's okay.
It is what it is. Shall we do our awards?
Finally.
I know.
We meant to start this about an hour ago before we realized. So this actually we haven't done yet.
Yeah, so this is all
It was just that chunk.
Yeah.
Luckily we found out that our thing wasn't imagine.
Oh my god. All right. Biggest winner.
Biggest winner. I had Mercedes.
Yep.
Because they look rapid.
Agree.
And P3 and P4.
Yeah.
really, really good. Clearly the fastest car apart from the McLaren.
Yep.
Because the Red Bull is not good. It's just Max.
Yes.
And I also put Nico Hulkenberg.
Yes,
because
so true.
P7 in a Sauber, he has outscored in one race Sauber's whole last season. And good for him. Honestly, I'm so happy for him.
Agree.
So he was a huge winner. Also, I was going to say Kimi, but like that's kind of wrapped up in the Mercedes bundle.
Yeah. Agree. I obviously had Lando just for driving such a great race.
Yes.
And Alex Albon.
Yes. Oh my
Because
God.
Same as Nico, like just such a phenomenal race.
And people like Alex and George a little bit.
Yeah.
Just at peace the whole time, not involved in any drama, pitted at the right time, kept it in the right spot.
Yeah, like you
no
didn't even really
issues.
like think about them, look at them.
Alex
and then they were
Albon
just
holding
there.
off Lewis Hamilton for like 20 laps.
Crazy. So good.
Big ups.
Also, just one thing that I think we didn't talk about in this new version that we talked about last time that we should probably talk about, but I don't want to talk about, but I'm going to bring it up because it's probably entertaining, is the fact that Ferrari is currently P7 in the Drivers' Championship. So if I'm not here for this Shanghai episode next week, it's because I've thrown myself off a building.
I'll be wellness checking on her, don't worry.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah,
That was a
kind of
bit
funny.
dumb.
But like behind the Sauber, behind
Sauber.
Sauber,
Yeah.
and both of your drivers behind Lance Stroll in the drivers' standings. Not for long.
Not for
you'd
long.
fucking hope.
We've got so many points up for grabs in China, so
Yes,
Sprint.
and it's one race.
it's just one race.
One race.
But
One race.
Bro, it took a lot to open up the F1 app and look at the standings this morning because I knew
was
it wasn't
stoked
going to look
at the
good.
standings,
And I was like,
"Whee!"
7th!
I was just worried that with Kimi's promotion back to P4, that Mercedes would be leading the constructors.
True.
It's equal.
It's equal.
Oscar with his 2 points. Let's
Yeah, nice.
go. Biggest L?
Biggest L. I did have Oscar.
Yeah, me too.
I had a few actually because there was
a lot.
lot
Oscar
of
was the top
Ls.
of my list too because that was just heartbreaking. Yeah.
I mean, obviously everyone who DNF'd.
Yeah.
Particularly Isaac and Liam because I think Liam would have wanted to make a really good first impression and did not. I also had Ferrari fans everywhere because we're really struggling right now and Haas.
Yeah. Well, I had basically the same one. So Oscar, people that DNF'd, specifically Isaac and Jack.
Yeah.
Because, like, I said it in our first tank, but like, oh, maybe did we get?
It might have gotten that
we
far. Yeah,
we made it through. I'm glad I don't have to repeat myself because that would have made me sad. So specifically Isaac and Jack. And then I just had Ferrari because what the fuck was that?
What was that? Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of Ferrari,
Yes.
my meme of the weekend.
Yes.
Charles on his team radio telling his engineer or asking his engineer what leak is occurring in his vehicle. His engineer saying, "What leak?" And Charles saying,
My
"There's
seat's full
my
of fucking
seat is full
water."
of water." And his engineer hitting him with the response of, "Well, that would be the water."
Thank you for that.
The fact that Charles then replies with, "Let's add that to the words of wisdom." Like, he's clearly so aware of the stuff that is said about him and Ferrari online.
Yeah.
That, like to say that in the moment of
Totally.
mid-race, your car, there's something going on
He
in your
just
car.
knows that that's going to be added to the list of his radio message memes and train wrecks with Ferrari.
Like, to be that aware of it in the moment,
It's a big deal.
it's so funny.
It's really funny. But like, what was his engineer thinking?
I haven't...
Just hit him with a "we are checking."
I know.
That would be better.
I think he meant like that would be the rain. Like maybe there's like rain in and around like the floor of the car and that's what you're feeling. I assume that's what he meant. But
Yeah, there's water in my seat. Yeah, that would be the water.
Yeah, it would be.
Like, I know. I'm well aware. Fuck, it's so funny. There were some great memes that came out of this weekend.
Yes.
Like, I was having a blast cackling in my, like, Uber to and from the airport, like,
Yeah.
scrolling some memes. Literally so funny, because I saw this meme about that. Literally, it had like a picture of Will Buxton, like obviously from all of his Drive to Survive, just pointing out the obvious.
Yeah.
And then like Charles's engineer, and it was like you can kill the man and not the idea, just because like he's literally gone to IndyCar. So like I just thought that was really funny because he so would say some shit like that.
For sure.
Maybe it's the water. Shit, really.
For real.
My favorite meme was also like Ferrari related. There were some great memes, but it's that one where it's like Squidward like behind the barred window with SpongeBob and Patrick out the side, and it was like Hamilton and like George and Kimmy. Because I was like, no, for real.
Oh,
like he's
I know.
like my
looking
team.
at that, like, bro.
I can imagine Toto just being like,
You know, apparently he left Kimmy Antonelli like a little note in his driver's room, like
cute.
before the weekend started. So cute.
that's really cute.
Bless. Him and his dad are really just like out here just being so wholesome.
Yeah, I know, honestly. Slay.
There were so many memes from the weekend, but
so
we
many
must
good
move
ones.
on.
We
We've been
must.
recording this podcast for 7 hours.
Oh,
anyway.
I know.
What are we up to? Silliest surprise.
There were a lot,
so many.
but I'm going to just speed run the two that I wrote
Hit it.
down. First silly surprise was Williams having consistent pace.
Yes, agree.
Consistently
completely.
good pace. And then we touched on it already, but Sauber outscoring Ferrari.
That was literally mine. But also Lance Stroll outscored Ferrari. Sauber and Lance Stroll.
Silliest fucking surprise.
Yeah. R.I.P. me. Anyway,
So goofy.
so that's great. What was your favorite moment of the weekend?
Well, I would say Lando holding off Max at the end.
Yep.
Like the adrenaline, the stress around that, and then for it to like come to fruition of him winning
Totally.
was probably my favorite moment.
Agree. Lando's like engineer on the radio being like, you've got the pace, like you don't need to panic, just drive.
Oh, I didn't
And
hear
he
that.
did.
Yeah, no,
so
I love
sweet.
that. So probably that, like that was so exciting.
Yeah.
And like obviously a lot of bad things happened to drivers that I like with DNFs and Oscar, etc. But
Yeah.
like if Lando didn't hold on to the win, I would be in a completely different state of mind. Like, I would be sad. But yeah, that's probably my favorite moment.
Fair.
And what about you?
Obviously those 30 seconds where Ferrari were looking on for a double podium, really good. But there was like, I think just overall the absolute chaos of the race.
The scenes.
Not knowing what was going to happen next. Like, just, that was great. And just F1 being back.
Yeah,
So
100%.
good.
So good. I'm so
We
excited.
haven't even talked
it's
about
back.
the new title theme.
Oh my god.
George Russell's T-pose.
Yes, it's back.
So happy.
So happy. And the fact that they did it by constructor and
Yeah.
then randomly put Max at the front. Obviously, Max kind of has to be at the front, but it
Yeah.
just looks like Liam got lost. He just,
Like, hello?
he's all by
No,
himself.
I get you. But yeah.
Carlos with his like,
Oh, I know. He really
I was like,
ate with that.
okay. What intro are we doing here? What's
I
going
know.
on?
I'm a big fan of the new intro.
Yeah.
Big fan.
I kind of think the other ones were more hype. I feel like the editing, I liked the style better last year.
Fair.
But it's just exciting.
It is.
It's just fun.
All right, and last of all, driver of the
Driver
day.
of the day.
We made it through,
We
bro. I have
did.
drivers of the day. I couldn't.
I have drivers of the day too.
Who are yours?
Well, I do agree with the people. I think Lando,
Yes.
we've touched on it already. He drove an incredible race. So
Yes.
he is the top of my list.
Yes.
Honorable mentions Kimi
Yes.
and Alex.
Yes.
Yes.
Agree. I also had Kimmy and Alex and Nico as
Yes,
well.
yes.
Because,
It's
just again.
like Nico and Lance obviously didn't qualify high. Like people like
yes.
Alex and Kimmy as well, actually. But Kimmy actually like kind of cooked through there for a little bit.
Yes.
But it just shows if you can keep it on the road in the wet,
Yeah.
you're good.
You're good. I
You-
know.
You can get points.
I know. So, massive shout outs to them. Anyways.
Did we make it to the
we
end?
made it to the end. We got to
Oh my
wrap this
God.
up before our phones die and run out of storage again.
Okay. Let me outro really quick. We're
Wait. Next week,
my
just
God,
quickly.
fuck. True.
Literally this weekend, Shanghai.
Sprint
weekend. Crazy. So happy to have another race in our time zone. Can't wait. Can't wait for Ferrari to maybe move up from P7 in the championship.
Even just to P5 at this point, you'd take.
I'd take it.
Yeah.
So, Anyways, hit the outro.
Hit the outro. We are so excited to be back for 2025. It already looks like this season's going to be so much fun. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We're so excited to be back, as I said. So if you are listening, give us a 5-star review because it really helps us out. If you're watching on YouTube and you want to hear our first thorough run through of the race, go over to the audio, and it's going to cut around a bit because the last bit will be the same. But I do think it was a lot better.
Agree.
So if you do want to, that would just be a lot of commitment to the Lights Out podcast, but we'd appreciate it. But if you're watching, like, subscribe. And leave a comment what you thought about the race and everything.
Absolutely. And keep an eye out for Evie's vlog.
Yes, I vlogged my time in Melbourne. It was very choppy. I was so busy, so I don't know how it's going to turn out.
A lot going on.
Some fun editing will hopefully make it a good vlog, but that should be coming out after Shanghai. So keep an eye out for that, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye. Oh my God, we did it.
Bro.
We made it.
Oh my God, no!
No, you're fucking kidding.